Katie, Ashley, and John, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on preemptively the completion of season 4 of Mythic Quest and also Side Quest. I did not expect to have such an emotional journey with those 4 episodes.
Yes.
Where did
Gotcha. We got
it. You got it good. Where did the concept start? While doing my quest, I'm assuming sometime.
Yeah, because every season of Mythic Quest has a departure episode, and where we get to explore themes a little bit more in depth and have it be a little bit more of a cinematic pause in the season. And we really felt like there was so many more stories to tell than just one a season, because we don't want to take away from the character arcs that we have to explore in Mythic Quest. So it just felt kind of a natural move to have its own little expansion pack and make this anthology that still feels familiar, because you expect that from a Mythic Quest season, but now you just get more of them.
Yeah, I love that, because you see the product that they're working on, whether it's comic books, whether you're watching the composer work and things of that nature, or the people just playing the game in the friends group. Ashley, what does it mean to you working on both sides of it, as starring in Mythic Quest and being able to work behind the scenes on it, and then also on Side Quest, about just really how much bigger this world is growing?
I feel really humbled, honestly. Like I started on Mythic Quest as a writer, and I've just gotten to accrue more jobs as time has gone on. I started acting, and then I started directing on the show, and then getting to be a part of Side Quest. It's just amazing. It's a really cool experience to, I didn't know anyone going into Mythic Quest, and then to have formed these collaborative relationships and friendships, and to feel so simpatico with people, and to get to carry those relationships forward. I think I met you guys in 2017?
2018.
2018?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's such a gift. It's really amazing. And it's not something I never would have expected that all of this would have come out of, this writing job from however many years ago. So I'm really grateful, and I'm really excited for people to get to see, what we've made together with Side Quest.
I am currently learning the hard way, and it's a blessing, don't get me wrong, that if you do a good job, they're going to give you more jobs.
Yeah.
And the problem is, because you do a good job, you're just going to be good at it regardless. John, tell me a little bit about picking some of the themes for these episodes, because they're very, very specific, and I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the specificity of it just comes from looking at this huge kind of ecosystem that exists around games and gaming in that world, and then just looking like what's an interesting story here, like what's an interesting story here, and like that's we kind of started with like a 30,000 foot view of like what are all the ways in which a huge AAA video game like Mythic Quest can affect people, like what, like, and I think we were trying to look at some of the more unexpected ways that happens, and I think Fugue is a great example of that, because speaking for myself, I was not really aware that there was, like a touring orchestra that took Final Fantasy music around the world and, played it for people, and people loved it, and they sell out huge, halls and everything like that. And so that's just just right from the jump, you're like, oh, that's so interesting. And then discovering the human story within that, it's like, what is like a really global sort of thematic thing that would happen within that world. And for us, it was landing on, here's someone who gets their dream job. Well, what's it like? We relate to that very strongly because we have got our dream job. But what's the reality of that? The reality is it's not every day is amazing. You have people that you have, that are difficult to work with. You have, you have bad days. You just do. Everybody does, so and then for this character in particular, it was like her actual deep love of music was making it not a viable job for her, I guess, so I talked you all the way through the process, I'm sorry, but that's kind of how, like, it's kind of starting, and then it's the old thing that everybody always says, the more specific you get with something, the more universal it sort of becomes. And I think that was really the case in a lot of these episodes. And
Yeah, every episode was like, oh, I think this might be my favorite one, and the next one is like, oh, I think this might be my favorite one. Yeah, you're right. Very universal themes that we could all relate with. I think for the one with the cello is, yeah, you're so passionate about something that maybe sometimes you lose a grip on life, and then what are you really doing? Anything? It's not fun anymore. And I think when that happened, when that conversation happened, I was like, oh. I was like, all right. I didn't need that. I was trying to have fun. What's going on?
You should have been in the room for it.
I know.
We're all just like, oh,
any
no.
particular episode that helped you guys, or that made you guys reflect a little bit?
I think every episode, because we tried hard to find themes that are universal, which means we've all felt them. So in every single one of those episodes, in the writer's room or whatever, everyone had the moment of like, am I talking about myself? I mean, it all got really meta after a while. And that's when we knew we hit on something that was going to work. If we were all kind of questioning our life choices, then we were like, this might resonate with people. So whether it is, again, the circumstances with which these characters find themselves might not be relatable, but the theme that it boils down to does. So for The Last Raid, you might not be a gamer, but I think we've all had that experience of growing up and growing apart, where all of a sudden this group that you've had since childhood, you're not children anymore. So what does that kind of mean, and how do you have to restructure or reassess that friendship? And the same is true for Fugue with getting a dream job and then reality sets in, or having a work-life balance, especially when the balance is that you don't feel great or worthy in your personal life, but work gives you validation. So why can that be such a bad thing? And then we see how it can be. Or for something like the pull list, where these are a space and you only feel connected to this one place, and what extreme will you go to protect it? And I think we've all felt that way, and and to be able to bring those to life and show them through unique lenses, as John said, even though they might be unique circumstances, the experience is universal.
Ashley, John, Katie, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for SideQuest. I find that they're amazing. They could even be standalone if necessary. Hopefully we get more. Hopefully we talk about the next few ones. So thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you so much.